Hey, we're live. Episode number 276 on Musings.
That's right.
So we are definitely doing a lot of episodes. for once a week, we've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, it adds up. Remember when we thought it was a big number when we hit 50?
Oh, yeah. And then 100. We're like, oh, wow, 2 years. This is huge.
Huge.
Yeah. All 18 of our followers are so excited.
Indeed.
Yeah. So we've got a great show. We're going to talk about some Andor. We've also got a trailer, Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Oh, I haven't seen the new trailer yet. So
we'll watch that after we do the ad reads then.
Okay, that'll be good.
So
yeah,
let's go ahead and
with the new superhero Ramon, or as they're calling Namor. I don't understand why they do this stuff, but they completely changed the story, so it's not really Atlantis now. It's Techno-Toclin or whatever they're calling it. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So change the whole history of the character. Just change the name then. Make him a different name.
Yeah.
Oh well.
We got Kevin. Yeah, Redmond Man saying hello. Hey, Redmond Man.
Hey, Redmond Man.
Kevin. All right. I'll see Kevin later today. So let's knock out these ad reads so we can get into this. So I'm going to start off with Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. They take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital X-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call, 734-697-4244. You can find them online at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com, or just Google them here on the Facebook, and they are under Loringer Family Chiropractic Center PC. And I believe it's just at Loringer Family Chiro. Again, they disappeared all the at signs they got on some of the business stuff as they keep changing stuff and things like that. So definitely check them out. They've been a longtime sponsor. We always appreciate them. And as we've talked many times before, chiropractic care is a great way to work on your being well and health and everything else.
For sure. And where's my share screen button go? Do they?
It's called Present now.
Oh, geez. I'm like, where did it go? Present screen. Oh God.
Yeah, they're adding some new stuff for us, and in fact, they even have a new editing for videos. We can actually edit videos in.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So, real quick, Red Man. No, we do not talk about The Walking Dead because we don't watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah, unfortunately, I stopped watching that back in after. I felt like at once Carl was taken off the show, and then Rick was killed off. I couldn't stick with it anymore. I tried a couple episodes and I was done. I am completely lost on the ongoings of Walking Dead.
Same here. About the same time after that, I just got tired of it not going anywhere and then trying to figure out what they're doing after they killed off some of the major characters because the showrunner was being a jerk. So
that's what I felt like too.
Yep.
But Team Titans Real Estate, why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we stay up to date on the tools and technology today, like figuring out the present button was previously the show button. Those awesome advancements in technologies we stay afoot of.
Yeah, that's neat because you can even add like an extra camera or things like that.
Yeah.
The neat thing about that is, I think, is before you get into the ad real quick, is we could actually, if we were in the same room, we could have one system running a couple cameras, and then that way we get together. So
between cameras, so that's really cool now. So, okay, Uncle Brett, new session coming soon.
All right.
So that's nephew Redman.
I'm going to say so. I'm going to assume that might be Aiden under a new moniker. Unless I'm wrong, I've got all these other people popping up.
So, real estate, Team Titans, you know who we are. You know what we do. And we're right now, it's, as I've said before, the market is in a shift. And it truly is changing. One thing I've got going on right now, like pulling out the old school tactics right now. And for the last 2 years, the sellers had all the power, and it was ridiculous. Like, you had to put in 40,000 above asking. You had to sell off your children. You had to like hand carve a monument in the image of the former seller, all to get your offer accepted. And and it's not that way anymore. The monuments are being torn down, and buyers are starting to have some say. And one example is I have a deal I'm working on, and I actually now have one buyer who is my buyer, and I'm pitting the two sellers against each other, getting them to lower prices to sweeten up the deal so that my buyer will accept their offer. I haven't done that type of deal in, seriously, I think 3 years. So it does show there's a shift, and these are decent houses, both of them. And but that's what happens when things change. So the power is going a little bit back more to the buyers. If you're a buyer who got frustrated over the last 3 years because you didn't have ridiculous money to put on the table to guarantee appraisals and all these different things, you didn't want to cash out your 401k to buy a house, which are all real things that happened. Give us a call. It's time to get back in the market. Interest rates are going up, but prices are coming down. So there is an offset there. But over the next year, I have seen projections seeing that interest rates could get up to 9 to 12%, depending on how far you're going. So if you are thinking about buying a house in the next 3 to 12 months, give us a call, because we might be able to get you approved now, and you could make a purchase now before the interest rates go up. One example is if, let's say, you had $2,500 a month you could afford for a mortgage payment. Right now, that would get you about a $450,000 house if you were putting 20% down. 1 year ago, that same monthly payment, you could afford a $750,000 house. So that's how much has come down in buying power just from interest rates going up 3%, and they're expected to go up another 3% at least. So
they keep going up 0.25% every other week, it seems, or more. So
for sure. And this is from all that free money, that $1,500 we got. Well, we're paying it back and then some. So it's just it's like laws of gravity. You step off a cliff, you fall. When you print billions and trillions in free money, you fall. That's what's happening right now. And interest rates are the natural side effect of that. So time for us to take our medicine. It's happening, but you can be proactive and make proper choices now to, if you got to make a move, if we do it now, you're going to avoid those additional 6% increases that are coming down the road. So give us a call, 586-232-5144. Jill and I are here for you.
All right. We're going to talk about Andor. I had to look up, kept looking at the
mom?
No.
Oh.
I had to look up on for Andor, the husband for on Mothma.
Oh, okay.
Alistair McKenzie. I was like, going, man, how do I know? I'm looking through this stuff here. He played Lord Rothcroft in the Dracula series that was done on the BBC. That was really good.
Ah, there you go.
That's where I know him from. So.
Very good. Well, and then the mother to that guy, the security officer who was responsible for the Empire coming to his planet now, and she slaps him.
Yeah, that was today's episode.
Yeah, she's a professor in the Harry Potter series in the movies.
Yes. She was actually, she wasn't a professor. She was the I believe she was the neighbor across the street that was
the neighbor. You're right.
She didn't have. She was kind of like the groundskeeper. They had gone through the school, but they didn't really have witchcraft powers. They couldn't develop their powers, and
squibs.
So
squibs?
Squibs, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, but I kept looking at her and I heard her voice. I'm like, I know her from somewhere, and I looked it up, and it was Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's in today's episode, which we won't be discussing a little bit now. But
but good episode.
Yeah, it was. Here's the thing about this: the people are complaining about it. I'm going. You have to keep this in mind. I'm looking at this as it looks like they're doing about 6 episode arcs. Next week's episode 6, and they're just getting to the heart of this first arc, the kind of the culmination of it, to lead into the next bit. And they've got a few years they'll cover and stuff like that, but definitely a lot more that they need to get on here. And they're getting ready to do the big heist, basically.
Yeah.
And if it had been a film, they would have skipped through a lot of stuff on this, including back stuff. And
Yeah.
we're getting more detail on the characters, including those that I think are going to play more in the last half, which is the one security officer, because they keep going back to him. So he's obviously got something involved here, as well as the fact that they're setting up, I think, more for that next part, as well as the second season, because they already know the length of the series. So they don't have to try to do filler and figure out what they're going to do like 3, 4, 5 seasons down. At the end of 2 seasons are done, 24 episodes, that's it. So
so this will be exciting to see where we go. But so later on this episode, we will talk about last week's Andor, which was episode 4.
And there's all kinds of Easter eggs. I got a big list of them here.
So. I'm excited to talk about that. And then we got some She-Hulk we'll talk. And what else are we talking today?
We're going to say hi to Dave real quick. Dave Brown out there killing the comic book world.
Got to see Dave over at Monroe Comic-Con.
Yeah. Good guy. Love his stuff. He's got a great series of comics going on. And he's working
He had worked on the passes, the badges for Monroe Comic-Con. He did the artwork on those.
Nice.
For that show.
Very cool. Like that. Yeah. So, hey, we got to check out this Wakanda trailer.
Yeah, I want to see it. I saw the teaser trailer, but I haven't had, my week's just been crazy. So,
yes.
I'm looking forward to this. This will be my first reaction.
Here we go.
Only the most broken people can be great leaders.
His people did not call him general or king. They called him Kukul Khan, the feather serpent god. Killing him will risk eternal war.
He's coming for the surface world.
We know what you whisper. They have lost the protector. Now is our time to strike. Show them who we are.
Okay. It looks good. I'm excited to see it now. But it is one thing. It's the whole Namor thing. It's not Atlantean. It looks like they're doing like a Mayan type culture.
That's it. Yeah, it's got a different name, like Techno Tetlin or something like that. I forget what it is. Yeah. My only complaint with this whole thing is the Namor character. Just make him an original character, because it's not. They have outright said this isn't going to be Atlantis. So you could still have Namor out there and unrevealed, as part of Atlantis, and make this a new original character. Everyone would love him if he was a new character. But by putting the Namor name on it, there's a history to that character that people are associating. It's like, well, wait, why are you changing you're changing the whole backstory, the character, location, the look. So that's the part that, to me, this is where Hollywood's, they want so hard to diversify and stuff. Nothing wrong with diversity. Just name him a different name. Don't make him Namor.
And that's the whole thing is they have the Atlantis within the Marvel universe in comics had quite a rich history within itself. Yeah. And you may say they're white from the comics, but they really didn't have to be white. The color doesn't matter. But you're now taking away what could have been that particular mythology and taking a different mythology, renaming it, looks like, and still using a character that's not of that mythology.
Yeah, they could have easily used this character, give him just give him a new name. It could have created a rich new, and even for comic books, that would give the comic books a whole nother aspect of the underwater world to explore with fresh stories, new adventures. And then you could use this as a way of introducing the concept of Atlantis. So down the road, you could do a Namor movie or whatever you wanted. So that's my only complaint. As far as Black Panther goes, some people want T'Challa recast. I'm glad they didn't recast him.
Yes.
The character of Black Panther itself, like T'Challa, he got his powers from those purple flowers that he had to eat. And if you're worthy, it gave you the powers. So they can still pass that on. And it looks like from the trailer, someone is a female version of Black Panther. So they're going to pass the character on while keeping the origin character passed away. And I think that's appropriate here.
Yeah. So Talokan, that's the name of the place that Namor's from. I was just trying to. It's an underwater kingdom ruled by Namor. It says according to this here. I hate the internet sometimes.
Yeah. But that
it's
was
never
never
by it's a kingdom ruled by Namor that's populated by the Talokanians.
Right. But this is all created for the movie universe.
Yeah,
this wasn't in the...
And that's what I was just looking at. So, yeah, Talokan is based on Talokan, one of the underworld realms in the Aztec codices ruled by the rain god Tlaloc. So this, why not just go with Tlaloc then?
Right. Make it give him a new name.
Yeah,
he's just part of that
storm. He's a storm god. He definitely could fit in all this, but why does he have to be Namor? And they just completely destroy...
Right. It doesn't. And then what you do is you divide fan bases. You cause division because people who want to be true to the original story are upset. Yeah. And then they're called names because they're upset that they're changing things. They're not upset at the actor cast. They're upset that they're changing a character. Just don't change the character.
Yeah, and again, the race of the character didn't matter in terms of if it was played by a Hispanic person, a Black person. It could have been an Altarian.
Just like humans, we have all different colors, different cultures, different. Well, they could make the underwater world big enough and vast enough that they also have all different cultures and languages and colors, and you could still do that.
But doing Namor and having him from Atlantis, I mean, he could have, he still could have been bronze color. That's what they like to teach a lot in the Mediterranean is that they're not white, they're more bronze, and there's different races within that. But it's like I'm looking at this going, okay, so you created a whole new thing for this. It's like, why change that just to include this culture and give it a character name? If they gave him a different character's name, he could have had similar powers.
And everyone would have been thrilled.
Yep.
Everyone would have been thrilled.
Here's this new great character you're introducing based on the Aztec Mayan cultures. And, you go from there. Yeah. And then they still could have introduced Namor at some point.
He could have been like a higher level boss in a video game. Okay,
Namor's actually over all the underwater realms as well as because Atlantis itself was always more has always been more portrayed in everything I've ever seen over the years as an offshoot of like a Greek culture.
Yeah.
So the Greece, there's a lot of history within that goes back, centuries and the Greek gods and they've already introduced Zeus and things like that. So now, Namor with Atlantis, it should have been its own thing within that realm, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for me personally, Namor as a character, I've never cared for Namor much anyway. So for me, this isn't a hill to die on.
Yeah.
If the movie's good, I'll like it. I just wish Hollywood would stop doing this type of things where there's nothing wrong with giving exposure to a new culture, like the original Black Panther movie. It was phenomenal the way they introduced the African culture into this new character in this land, Wakanda, and it was beautifully done the way they did it. Yeah. But they didn't hijack a character to do it. The character was that way in the comics, And I don't understand why for the movies they're so afraid to just create a new character. I think people would have loved it if they created a new character.
Right. And that's the whole thing. It is creating a new character isn't a bad thing. I know they're trying to uphold just from the Marvel Comics universe, but the problem is that doing that, it's like, doesn't really matter anymore because the comics themselves aren't really pushing that story forward. This is a whole different universe within everything. So,
but the hardcore core of your fan base, they've been wanting a Namor movie since Phase 1. They've been wanting Namor into the universe, and because they loved that character, and that to have it finally come out and be completely changed, that's I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan. If I've been begging for a Star Wars movie and they finally come out with one and it's got the USS Enterprise in it, and I'll be like, what? Why is Captain Kirk in this? That's Star Trek. I'd be mad because they're changing something that's beloved. Right. And just make a new character. That's it.
Yeah. I know everybody's going to go, hey, you guys are just so critical and all that stuff. Guess what? We both just said we wanted to go see the movie. So,
I'm looking forward to the movie.
And Black
just
Panther,
like
I'm hoping it's as good as well, and it's the same director in that, so I'm hoping it's as well written as Black Panther, because that was one of the phenomenal movies of that phase.
Yeah. Another reveal in this trailer, which I have no problem with, is the reveal of Ironheart, which is the new female Iron Man.
We've speculated that when they first announced she was coming in, they were going to use Wakandan technology. So that kind of appears that way. Yeah. So,
but as far, even in the comics, when they introduced her, a lot of people were mad that they were making Iron Man a female, which they're not. Tony Stark is still Tony Stark. They didn't hijack the character Tony Stark. She is a completely new character. In the comics, Tony Stark's getting older. It's getting harder for him to fight crime every day against superheroes and villains. And so he's looking for a protege. And this girl, she goes to MIT. She's super genius, and she figured out how to build her own Iron Man suit. So Tony Stark decides, hey, I want to retire anyways. She figured out this stuff on her own. Better off I take her under my wing and mentor her than let her just go off on her own and who knows what happens. So he takes her on as a protege. Now, in here, I don't know exactly how they're going to work it in. I'm hoping Tony Stark is still part of it because he made that hologram version of himself at the end.
My understanding is for the Ironheart series, he's supposed to be in it at some point. Now, they've not said in what capacity. I think it'd be great if he did, even just if it wasn't even physically him, it was just an animated version of him, or just a voiceover.
Well, what I'm hoping for is he's the Jarvis. They install that hologram system into the suit.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, so he could be the voice.
Yes.
And I could see him doing that. So I think that would be a great way to have Tony Stark's presence.
Yeah.
And he can mentor her through it, because the way he created that technology, it's an AI of himself where, based on his experiences and mannerisms, it can project what he would say. So I think that would be a really cool way to incorporate him into this. So that's my hope.
I think it's probably about the best way for them to do it. So
yeah, but I'm looking forward to the Ironheart character too, because once again, she is her own unique character. Yes, she's wearing armor, but the other thing too is they announced the Armor Wars.
I was just about to say, that changed too. We were supposed to have an Armor Wars series, which I think it would have introduced some stuff in Ironheart. I think with everything, they're changing a lot of the stuff in these stuff they initially announced just a couple of years ago, as they're realizing some things on storytelling. And so now we're going to get a full Armor Wars movie. I think what we're seeing here in the Wakanda Forever is the start of that with Ironheart. Then we will, when she has her own series, she's supposed to have her own series still next year, I believe it is. And that will, I think, set up stuff within that for the Armor Wars. And I think that's where we'll see that happen, because they're going to have Rhodes. I think it's going to be, he's always been the one that opposed Tony Stark on a lot of things when it came to the suits and stuff like that.
But they were also best friends at the same time.
Right. And Tony, I needed someone that wasn't just a yes man.
Yeah.
And that's what always he relied on. So I think that's what we're seeing, is that build of that, where we have Ironheart, we have Rhodes, and then,
we also
have go ahead.
We also have Gwyneth Paltrow. She had an iron suit in the Infinity War or Endgame, whichever one.
Right.
Also, so she could also come back in Armor Wars.
Yeah, and I've been setting up some other stuff with I almost said the Mandalorian because I'm thinking Star Wars too much, but the Mandarin.
Yeah.
You know, they dealt with the Mandarin again in Shang-Chi, so that could be coming back around too.
Whatever happened with in that one, you know, Gwyneth Paltrow fell into that like fire
Mhm.
and then came out with like powers. They've never touched on that ever again. Like, remember she came out of the flames and she like had this superpower now. Like,
Yeah, we'll see if that becomes relevant at all in
did
this.
they get rid of that? Did they fade away? Does she still have that? Like, they never addressed that, I don't think.
No, I don't think they did. So if anybody knows,
Yeah.
just comment while we're live. If
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
hold your peace. But you know, we talked about some different changes and things like that, and getting a little bit of, not to get too deep into it, but House of Dragon.
Oh yeah.
This last week, if you watched it, not to get covered too much episode, is the end of yet another time jump. They're going to do another 10-year time jump in this next week.
I think this
most
is a
of
mistake.
the adult characters we've been following that we have now are staying. They're taking the kids and making the kids older.
Yeah. I just feel like
last week was a pretty built episode on setting all that up.
Yeah. I just feel like as audiences, we get attached to the people portraying the roles.
Mhm.
And whenever you do a time jump, it's very risky.
Yeah.
And they're doing it like mid-season multiple times. Now, I think the kids aren't as big of a deal. They're her children. We're not like attached much. Although this last episode, I really liked the kid who took over the dragon. I don't remember their names, but
Yeah.
I did like that portrayal. But now that I finally like one of the kids, next week it's going to be a different actor.
He's gonna be older, so
I did really like the actresses playing the younger versions of the Queen and Reyes. I don't know their names. Too many weird names.
Yeah.
But her up on the screen.
Yeah.
I really liked them. And the first episode where they switched, I was kind of like, oh, I like the other ones better. But I gotta say, this episode, I'm taken to the new character, the new actor.
Yeah, they after getting to the little clumsy changeover, it's like they immediately just almost took over their character. So
yeah, but I liked her portrayal in this one. It was very well done.
Yeah, no, I liked her in this one, and a lot of changes in this one. I mean, they got rid of characters in this one. This was kind of a little, definitely Game of Thronesy with that stuff going on. So
they're definitely doing a lot of foundation laying right now. So you got Rings of Power and House of Dragon. House of Dragon came out swinging. Their first two episodes are very intense to start off strong, and then now they're going into their character building. Whereas Ring of Power, they started off slow with foundation building. Now they're ramping up. So it's just at some point you have to tell story, people. You can't just have nonstop action with no story. So be patient. They'll all turn out good.
I've been enjoying the story on this. I haven't been able to get back into the Lord of the Rings, Power Rings. And they're ending a week from Sunday, I believe it is.
Yeah, I fell behind
season.
also. But from comments I'm seeing, people are liking where it's going. It sounds like.
Yeah. I just hadn't been enjoying it, so I just said, well, maybe I'll wait till it's done, and if I feel like I need a day where I want to binge something while I'm working on other stuff, I'll pop that on.
Yeah.
But House of Dragon, I've actually, and that was House of Dragon was a big surprise to me. I wasn't excited about it at all because of the way Game of Thrones ended. So I've been enjoying this, but the time jumps are a little.
It kind of it just puts a little too much. I guess if there was more of a definitive arc in each in the time period it was, but it's like you're still in the middle of the story and boom, time jump.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was a definitive action maybe that brought this mini story to an end and then a time jump, maybe that'd be better. But it's kind of like a very harsh cut. It feels a little too jarring to me.
And that's the thing. When it used to, at least with like Game of Thrones, we had the same actors and actresses, even the younger ones, ride out the entire series. They didn't time jump them and things like that. Now the for the princess, I kind of understood. Even though the two actresses or actors that play the Princess Rhaenyra are about the same age in real life, the one significantly looks 15 years younger.
Yeah.
So the current one they have now looked older. and she can play older, which is what they're doing right now. So that's why they changed.
I was surprised at the age because she legitimately looks like she's like 14 or 15.
Yeah, she's like
28 or 30 or something.
Yeah,
like that. It's like what?
Yeah, they're like 30 or whatever. So, but yeah, it was definitely. I saw a lot of posts last week as people hated it. That it sucked. That was storytelling. There's a lot of things that had to change, and one thing was the like I said, the one kid getting the dragon, and it was the mother that died in the last episode. It's dragon, so it was that was a big deal because they kept saying, "Oh, you'll get your dragon, you'll get this, or whatever." Just give it time, and so that's the whole point of this whole episode was that, as well as bringing out the fact that the two heirs are basically bastards. And they came out even more, but the king has squashed that. Said, nope, we're not playing this game. They are what they are. They're legitimate, even though they don't have the Targaryen white hair. So,
yeah, which that harkens back even to the original Game of Thrones series too. That the hair color was always crucial. That was how Ned Stark figured out that Joffrey was not Robert Baratheon's child. And that he was in fact a Lannister. So, talking about
because Lannisters were all blonde, and then you have Daenerys that was the white hair from the Targaryens.
Yeah,
and we see that within the sea people as well, because they have their hair is still white, even though they are a mix of black and white with that. So they are all. That's how we see they're all actually related at some point. So
yeah, we were talking about with the time jump though, needing to recast. I'm trying to find the image of it. I can't find it, but when people live harder lives, they age differently. And somebody had posted like the cast of Cheers. Did you remember Coach? He was the old guy on Cheers, the really, really old guy. He was only 59 years old when they were filming that.
Well, and that's the thing is there's some people that just look old. Well, look at Wilford Brimley. Wilford Brimley was playing old. He was in his 40s. He was playing in his 60s.
Yeah. Or you go back to the really old ones where they were like in their 30s. And looking at them, I'm thinking they're in their 60s. So Game of Thrones is a long time ago. Maybe that's why they had to recast those positions. Because you do age different when you have no, moisturizing creams and you're out in the sun all day and working hard.
And they do that in different things too, where they'll have a younger person, of course, playing the actress or actors, and then they have to age jump them in that. They try to find someone that's similar, and it's part of it's just, especially with a series like this. So they're looking at, I think, the longevity of this series is going to be several years.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're going to settle in at the end of the season, though, because they're kind of moving through stuff, but right now, the ongoing is really just the Matt Smith character, the king, and then the Queen's father was the same guy, and then I believe it's the also Catino was he was the one that was the protector for he's not with the Queen, but was with the princess when she was younger.
Yeah.
But there's some that stayed, and they keep changing the younger ones. Out for some of the older ones. So
real life, the young people do change rapidly compared to us old folks. But I'm looking forward to it. The actresses they did cast though to replace the Queen and the princess.
Yeah,
they do look like they could be older versions of those. So at least they, it doesn't look like ridiculous like completely different people.
And I'm sure that when they did started the casting, they knew the season, so they knew where they have to cast the princesses and the Queen, as now it's the children to the adults. They went looking for matching sets, basically.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
who would kind of give a look, as well as those that could act. So,
so
it's. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Did you see the announcement though? Also, they are doing a Jon Snow series.
Yeah, they've talked about that for a while.
Yeah, I guess they confirmed it.
Okay,
it's going to just be called Snow. It sounds like.
Okay.
So unless that was some fan fiction stuff, but I believe they officially announced it with a poster.
Back in June, Hollywood said it was in development.
Yeah. But I thought I
Uh,
saw them release a poster this last week.
I'm trying to see here if there's any.
Release date.
Nothing popped up since June. That's an official thing. So
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Maybe it's just getting fresh
There was an
fresh
article.
steam because of House of Dragons.
Yeah, there is from June there was it was a series in development, so we'll see if they actually do something. I think it's still here we go. Breaking news from Talking Thrones, Game of Thrones sequel, new Jon Snow. Okay, there's a couple of different ones, but it's hard to say if they're actually real or again, you gotta watch that because they say it's fan. They show stuff like it's a real thing, and it turns out it's just fan fiction, and using all images from the series, and it's nothing new. So
Okay. Speaking of Jon Snow, I did start watching something on HBO. It's been out since 2017, I think.
Okay.
It's called Gunpowder.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
It's very interesting. It's only 3 episodes. It follow Kit Harington is the main actor in it. He plays what's his character? Robert Catsby. Now that character, that it's a real historical figure. He's not as well known, but his cohort in what's going to be pulled off in this series is Guy Fawkes, and that's a name a lot of people know. So it's how they try to blow up, do this event to take out their enemies. It's a very interesting series so far. I saw episode 1. I still have 2 more episodes to go through, but it's intense. It's brutal.
Are they like movie length episodes or?
I thought they were an hour each.
Okay.
They're at least an hour. Maybe.
So it's just like a limited series they did then.
Yep, it's a limited series. It follows the events here. It's real life events, and they show how they took care of people back then as far as executions and stuff, very vividly. Basically, the time period is the Protestants are at war with the Catholics. And the new king is a Protestant, so they outlawed Catholic practices. So Catholics are having to practice in their homes secretly, and they're knocking down the doors to arrest people and who are doing Catholic mass in their own houses. And one person's caught at the opening part and executed brutally for it. And Kit Harington is related to this person, so they want revenge.
No, okay.
And so they come up with this plot to kill the king. And one of the ways they're going to do it is blow up this particular house, this area, like where they all meet, all the political figures meet. They want to blow it up and kill all of them.
Oh, okay.
Guy Fawkes is a very zealot Spaniard who is part of this because Spain is Catholic. So they're bringing in their people to kind of help out, I guess, to fight the Protestant king. And if you want to know what happens, you can look up in the historical account, but I won't reveal the spoilers of what happens. But we know Guy Fawkes mostly from, there's Guy Fawkes Day. There's
there was the V for Vendetta, which was the
fictional.
main character. The story is a guy took on the moniker of Guy Fawkes from this historical story,
right?
With the mask and everything else, and to blow up Parliament.
Yeah. So Kit Harington, so far, he does a great job playing this role. It's a mix of a little bit of Jon Snow in that his demeanor and stuff. He still has the Jon Snow look there. But this character, being based on a historical character, has more confidence than Jon Snow was always in doubt about himself. And so he doesn't struggle with the doubts. He's much more confident of his purpose and what he's doing and stuff. But it's worth the watch if you like Kit Harington and if you like historical type things. It's very interesting. I look forward to see Guy Fawkes in the scene that he's introduced in. He's a very brutal character, and when I looked him up historically, it sounds like he was very, very enthusiastic about the work he did.
Yeah. There are some people like that. So, but yeah, I haven't been watching a whole lot of anything this week. Just keep up on the normal series we've been talking about here. So I haven't seen too much. I did watch the Munsters movie last week. I enjoyed it. I think I gave a quick brief on that last week. It's getting a lot of flack from people, stuff like that. Keep in mind, I mean, the series itself was a comedy, and this one was an introduction. To me, it feels like he could do like 2 more to round out the Munsters movie stories if they wanted to continue doing them. And they built the house, so the house is still there in Prague, so they can go back and do that. So we'll see. But I enjoyed that last week. Trying to think if there's anything else because I haven't really watched too much. I was just looking around, see if I have anything. No, I don't have anything here. So I guess we'll go to Andor. Andor was great. I enjoyed last week's 4th episode. Again, another series getting a little bit of flack, and it's funny is some of the people I think would like some of these stuff are actually hating on it, and some people hate it, loving it. It's a mix. The thing I'm liking about the Star Wars series myself is it's not typical Star Wars. It covers that universe. We're seeing TIE fighters, we're seeing troopers and things like that, but they're not getting heavy into what we see in normal Star Wars movies. And it's, all Jedi stormtroopers and, scoundrels. Yeah. So,
well, this is very much a prequel to the Rogue One movie.
Oh yeah. And they already said it's going to tie right in, which is perfect.
But they've kept the total feel. Rogue One, of anything Star Wars, is probably the most mature Star Wars we have for a mature audience. The most serious of all the movies, and they're definitely keeping that feel in the prequels here, and I'm loving it. Absolutely love it.
For us uber Star Wars nerds that really like this stuff, it's like all the expanded universe books and comics from the 90s, especially. Got more in depth in story of the characters and things they were doing, and it wasn't it wasn't such a limited 2-hour time limit of this says tell this quick story. We read chapters on stuff and the characters in depth. That's how we learned, and most of it was all centered around the Skywalker saga. But we had other stuff out there that brought in other characters, and they're actually starting to bring some of that into canon a little bit here. One of the scenes we have is the scene with where we go to with Mon Mothma, and Luthen's got his shop. We find out that Luthen, to finance everything he does, he's an antiquities collector, very rare antiquities as well, and it's seen stuff that's all in the backgrounds behind him there. So it's like I got a list here, a few things, but one of the things I liked that I was real excited about, I noticed during the thing is, eye-catching helmet in the back of his shop is similar to the Dark Lord's armor worn by Galen Merrick from the game Force Unleashed. That came out in 2008. Now that is now
also known as Star Killer.
Yeah, and that's also a legendary series, so it's not actually canon right now.
Right. But it was nice to see that armor back there.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a chance that that's kind of from that. We've talked about them bringing in what's his name? You've mentioned him a couple times from these games, and the actor Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer,
yeah. And I mean, there's different ways they could do that by introducing him through these different routes.
Yeah, they could definitely change the storyline, but that character exists during this period of time in the game. So Filoni always likes to find ways of taking these beloved characters, reworking their story so it fits in canon. So there's definitely room for that here, for sure. I want to give a quick mention, though. What I was all geeked about last week, but I couldn't say it, so I teased it, was the little mention where we might get a connection between Cassian Andor and another beloved Star Wars legacy character, Han Solo. Yes. So he mentioned, this takes place 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. The Solo series takes place 7 years before. In his conversation that he has with one of the other rebels there, he mentions 6 years earlier he was at the Battle of Mimban. That is also where Solo was in the flashback scene. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the time frame is, but I believe they were talking about the same exact battle where he was saying we were turning on each other and fighting each other. That's the flashback scene where we see Han Solo fighting for the Empire. We see him as a army trooper instead of the Imperial Navy. And that's also where Chewie was. That's where Han finds Chewie and saves him from that pit and helps him escape. We also have Val and the rest of the crew that Han Solo joins. They were present there. So all of those characters were present there. And we now know Cassian was also there on behalf of the Empire. So it is possible through a flashback scene they could do a tie-in with any of those characters or all of them even.
Yeah.
So the easiest would be to get the character who was the pilot with the 4 arms because that's Filoni's voice, or not Filoni. I mean, Favreau's voice was for that character.
Yep.
So they could have Favreau do a voiceover since that character is CGI, and they could easily bring him in without having to cast any particular person.
Right. And that would work out really good in that. So
they could also show how Chewie was captured. Maybe Cassian was one of the ones capturing Chewie.
Probably not, because if he said he was 16, so he was probably conscripted, which means he was just a lowly grunt army guy.
Yeah, but no officer would have gone after a Wookiee. They probably sent like 100 guys, and 99 of them died, and maybe only Cassian.
Well,
died.
I think what is more in the Star Wars universe, though, the Imperial Navy is the pinnacle, which is, they call it the Navy, but it's just like U.S. here. We have the Marines and the Navy, but they're kind of they do joint stuff together. You have the Marines on the ground, and they go in with the Navy's help. And I could see that being the group that would do it. But probably will never show Chewbacca being captured.
I was saying it'd be an easy scene to do because that guy who plays Chewie, I'm sure, isn't too busy right now. They could get him.
I don't know.
I'm just throwing out time frame wise. All of these characters could be in play if they wanted to do a flashback to Mimban.
Yeah,
and
I
create a
doubt.
connection.
I have a feeling they're not going to, but I would not be surprised if during this time we don't have if they did anything with Solo, it would be a crossing paths during the existing time. I don't think we're going to see too much of a flashback on any of that stuff. I think the flashbacks we needed were just to set up where he came from, and now we're just moving forward with the full story. So,
yeah, but I agree. So we'll see. I'm saying it's a possibility.
Yep. So it was a couple of things in there was that they had, and there was this treasure trove they call it. There was some Mandalorian armor we see, a chest plate. There was a Twi'lek Calicori in there that he shows off. There was tablets with hands linked to the world between worlds. And I guess I missed this one, but it appears to be an Indiana Jones whip encased in carbonite.
Oh, I did see that one. Yeah. There's a block of carbonite with a whip.
Yeah. And then possible Sith and Jedi holocrons are mixed in there. Now, of course, Luthen gave Cassian a necklace, which is a Kyber crystal.
Yep.
And of course, the Kyber crystals at this time are being harvested by the Empire for use in the Death Star, which is interesting because the one they keep saying it's like medical, but all the ones in the white suits that she's questioning all these different places, which is all the places that they're getting stuff to build the Death Star. So it shows that there's not everybody in the Empire is aware of things, and those that are following money are thinking that it's being hijacked. But everything I'm hearing, it to me at least sounds like it's all tied into what the Emperor's doing. Yeah. So
there is a larger backstory out there that they brought up through the sequel trilogy with Rise of Skywalker, especially finding out the Emperor was a clone. In the Mandalorian series, they touched on they came across clones, and then they came across clones in was it the Boba Fett series? The 2 series, different ones showed up cloning facilities. So they keep alluding to this larger plan that the Emperor had. So, they could slip in something like that into here as well.
Yeah. And then we're getting more story on Mon Mothma. I think it's definitely being more and more major part of the Andor series. We're just learning more about Andor, but she is definitely, we're getting her character rounded out a lot more than what we've ever had.
Yeah, we're learning who her family is. We, also their attitude towards her, so that's interesting too. She's such a figure high up in the rebellion, but I have a feeling the direction this is going to go is she's going to have to make a choice between family or the rebellion. And
I have
the way things turn out,
I have a feeling that when things get revealed, I wouldn't be surprised if the toll she pays and that pushes her over the edge has to do with the loss of her family.
Well, we also know, because of movies that exist and everything, all the friends of the husband of Mon Mothma are all top level, like Sith and Empire, who's working directly for the Emperor. So not good choices of friends.
Right. So, but definitely was a good episode. It gave us a lot of good story on Mon Mothma. We got a little bit more into what's going on with the heist that's coming up next week. So episode 6. And we're
I
seeing.
do think.
Go ahead.
I think it's interesting with the security officer too. What's his name? I'm forgetting. Anyways, he's in the blue suit. He's there in the center of the poster that we have up on the screen. He's he's very zealous about his job. He's trying to do his duty. 2 of his men were murdered, and he doesn't want to just sit around and be lazy and let this go by. So he decides he's going to take action and find who did this. And well, in doing so, the very thing that his predecessor or his boss warned him of is we don't want the Empire getting too nosy around here and keep them out of here. We want everything to be calm. Well, he ruffled feathers, and now the Empire has announced they're now putting a garrison there, and you can see how his whole life has kind of fallen apart now from this decision. And so we'll be curious to see, is he going to make some crazy choices to try to get back on the good side of the Empire, or will he end up joining the rebellion because of what his actions caused through the Empire? So that'll be a thing we will, I'm sure, see play out during the rest of the season.
Well, and that's the thing. What I'm seeing is some parallels I've always had in Star Wars to Nazis and things like that. And Germany, when they had places that they were in control of, they had local regional governors.
Yeah.
And different force. And when they didn't do that, they sent in the Gestapo. And that's what we're seeing now. The Gestapo's coming in. They're going to set up a base, bring in troops, and take over from there. And that's what we've seen all through Star Wars is these different little factions that think they have power. But realistically, the Empire's like, no, we just don't have a need for you right now. But when the need arises, they come in and just take over and eliminate them.
Yep.
So it's surprising he wasn't killed. He was just relieved of duty, and he goes back home.
And we're getting a little taste of that too, even at the higher level through Angry Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know what her name is as an actress, but like how Ryan Reynolds had Angry Rosie O'Donnell in his Deadpool. This is Angry Ellen DeGeneres. You can see that there's like a hunger to move up the ranks, and she's just trying to figure out what's going on. But her competition's like, they're like, it's all about the game and how to make yourself look better just for the next promotion. Yeah. So you can see how that's kind of eating away within the Empire, how it's going to cause problems structurally for, how they do things.
Yeah. So I think you're talking about Denise Gough. Denise Gough would be the actress.
Yeah, she's the one looking into the patterns of the different sabotage things and stuff.
Yep. And she's definitely the one that's revealing things like there's within the Empire themselves, there's more groups and factions that are different levels that know and don't know what's going on. And a lot of them they are working for the Empire under one belief, but there's another belief going on too. So, and again, it has to do with the fact that you have a Sith running everything that's been hiding the fact he's a Sith and has destroyed the Jedi. So the Jedi are now myth. So a lot of that stuff is also coming into play with different things. So, it's like the Kyber crystal, stuff like that. It's expensive, but most of them don't understand what the Kyber is used for.
Right. So. I'm trying to find. And then coming up, I'm trying to think, isn't Clone Wars coming out?
I think it's November is going to be the Bad Batch.
November is Bad Batch?
I think so.
And then they had some kind of short stories with Ahsoka in the old Clone Wars style, too. Isn't that something?
Yeah, I think that's next year.
Is that next year? Okay.
Yeah.
What's coming out this? So Wakanda is October, end of October, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see when the Bad Batch is coming out here. Here we go. So they just announced it the other week. January 4th is going to be the Bad Batch. So it's January 4th, and it's going to be 16 episodes.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think we have too much more coming out. This year.
What about Marvel? We got Wakanda, but what about TV series? Anything new coming out there?
No, I think everything's gonna be next year.
Okay.
So let me see here. We've got. Oh, I watched Hocus Pocus 2. Won't get into that because it's still new. I thought it was a fun sequel.
Okay.
So So you got Wakanda. Yeah, I got a few movies and stuff like that coming out, but nothing I'm seeing. I think everything gets designed around Star Wars and Marvel through Disney is going to be all next year.
Okay.
So,
Well, what we do have currently is She-Hulk. We can touch on that real quick.
Yeah, She-Hulk's coming is there too. But the other thing was, and do this here. We had a announcement this week, and a good image here for it. So I love how there's already fake teaser trailers.
Yeah.
So stop screen.
Yeah, it's hard whenever something new comes out. You try to find the official thing, and all these fake fan ones come up.
Yep. And there it is. The one thing that was.
Yes.
They had Deadpool 3 announced, and Hugh Jackman is coming back as Wolverine.
Yes, so that'd be pretty cool.
And I think I'm excited about that because they are they're good friends in real life, but they really love the whole internet banter thing. They go after each other a lot. So
one thing that was interesting about the announcement was they're sitting down on a couch in a house. Let's see if I can find that.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Deadpool. Just a screenshot at least of them sitting on the couch. Here we go.
Yeah,
I'll do this. I wish there was a faster way to share. I just can't click all the buttons fast enough. There we go. So in the announcement, they're sitting on this couch. You see a stairway, and it's just a house. But there is something special about this house in this announcement. That's the actual house they filmed Logan in. So it's interesting they make the announcement in the Logan house, but saying that Logan has died. Don't worry, he's staying dead. And, we're not going to change that. So he's supposedly going to be a multiverse version of Wolverine. What I'm reading is they are speculating he'll get the yellow suit to wear in this one, which for Hugh will be good because he's still in great shape. He's not nearly as huge as he was a few movies ago. But if he's wearing a full suit, they can obviously add some padding to make him however big they want him. So if that's an issue for him. But it was funny. They go on to explain.
We're 2 years away from it actually coming out. It's 2024 is when it's going to come out. So
they're
they're starting training and everything else. So they won't start filming it until next year. So he'll bulk up enough.
And he stayed in shape. I mean, you can see he's in great shape.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, there's that. And then the other thing is one of the shots in the announcement, Ryan Reynolds is sitting on the toilet reading a comic book. He's like, I've been trying to come up with ideas. Well, that comic book he was reading was actually a Deadpool, the last Deadpool Wolverine crossover in the comics. Yeah. So people are wondering, is that going to be the storyline they're using or what?
I think he's also showing it off because he's probably helping the comic shops all make money on now their inflated prices. So
right.
But we had other Ryan news, and I don't know if you saw this one here, so I will share this with you.
Hi, I'm Ryan Fitzpatrick, new official Ryan for the official gin sponsor of the NFL, Aviation American Gin. You may be wondering what happened to the other Ryan. Is he too caught up with the other kind of football? Is his beard just not up to the task? Probably. Whatever the reason, I'm happy to have the job. That may be the greatest of all time.
Oh, come on! You're sticking with that guy?
I saw that the other day. I thought that was hilarious.
So now only Ryans will do commercials for aviation gin.
Well, yeah, so he's the new Ryan. So
I like that.
So and it's funny because Ryan Reynolds actually owns a big stake in Aviation Gin. So
yeah, there's that, and then also Mint Mobile he does ads for.
Yep, and then I know Hugh Jackman. I think he's got something within a alcohol too, and they've done bits back and forth, kind of teasing each other and stuff like that. Yeah. So, all right. So, hey, anything else we need to cover today?
No. I think we covered everything. Well, She-Hulk we just didn't really touch on. All I'll say is about She-Hulk is I'm enjoying it. not every the Marvel universe is now big enough between all the movies, TV series, everything. There's room for something to be a comedy, and
this
I
it's a great situation comedy. It's and I
yeah
like how they're doing it. There's an ongoing storyline, but each week is like, here's this week's
yeah
event.
yeah.
The other week it was the Mr. Immortal. And I
Well, and
love the
it's
way they handled that. It was funny. Last week's it was she got her date with the guy she met at the
right,
wedding, and
but it's fun to
so
see the like in the grand things like Captain America. Okay, yeah, we see how he is as a superhero, but how was Steve Rogers in everyday life? Like they're still humans. They still want to date. They need to go shopping. They still need to, go to a friend's wedding.
Mhm.
And it's fun to see the situations that come out of it. Cause if you really had a friend who was a superhero and they came to your wedding, like the girl was worried she was going to overshadow her. So she's like, just don't be She-Hulk, stay as Jen, and things like that. So I'm having fun with it. It's like, if this came out during phase 2, when there was very limited Marvel stuff, I probably would have been like, oh, come on, I want the serious hardcore stuff. But there's so much variety now. I think there's room for this.
Yes, I agree, and
So.
it's been a lot of fun. And they're setting up a little story trying to get the blood of She-Hulk so they could replicate it. And
Yeah.
and where's it all tied in? Is it tied in back to Abomination, or is it something else entirely? So.
And my biggest complaint about the She-Hulk series from the start was going to be the CGI animation. I think it's still a little clunky at times, but I think it's, as a viewer, I'm getting used to it.
Yes.
Of the look and feel of it. So you kind of forget it. And but if you really study it, some of the movements are kind of awkward. Sometimes the fabric doesn't look right and it just seems out of place. But if you just allow yourself to just get past that, 10 years ago, we would have been thrilled at this animation.
Yeah, and it's also budgets. They're not giving this a big budget
it's
to
a
run with
series.
until it takes off. If it goes on for a few years, we'll see them increase the budget, and they'll be all done for CGI. So.
Yeah, if she's in like the Thunderbolt movie or something like that, it'll be top notch.
Yeah, which actually I'm excited about that one because I like the cast they announced for that. So.
One side note too, you had mentioned Mr. Immortal.
Yeah,
last week was it?
2 weeks ago. Yeah,
the actor who played Mr. Immortal was the Twilight Major Domo, or whatever you call him, in the Boba Fett series.
Yes, he was. He was working for the mayor.
So that was the same actor.
Yeah, so which is funny to see Disney's doing like old Hollywood where they use the same actors in all kinds of different roles. So
yeah, but like what you have a superhero, so to speak, who doesn't die. So he dies, but only for like 30 seconds, and then he comes back to life. So like he had all these marriages. I mean, technically, does he even need a divorce? Because it's death to you part, and he died.
Well, I think that's what he was actually getting at. I don't die, but I do, but I'm coming back.
So technically, I'm not married anymore, so I can get married again.
Yeah. So I like that. And the best part was for the resolution of everything that they went with. They did it all in the end credit animated drawings and that. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah. So
I like that one. That was a couple weeks ago. So definitely check out She-Hulk if you haven't watched it yet. I like it. It's fun. Get to go into comedy, and it's not going to be progressing the Marvel universe wholly. It's going to be progressing some stuff within their realm of the universe there. So
yeah, the progression we got, I think, is that Hulk is off planet.
Yes,
I think we'll find out maybe in Guardians 3 or some other thing why he's off planet.
Exactly. Come up around again. So, hey, join us next week. We'll have some more fun stuff to talk about, and we'll be hanging out and whatever. So,
Bye.
Bye.